Stop. Before this video plays another second, I need you to think about something. Think about the last time someone spoke to you like you were nothing. A sarcastic remark, a cold dismissal, a jab dressed up as a joke. Maybe it happened at work, maybe at the dinner table, maybe from someone you actually loved and trusted. And what did you do? Did you fire back? Did you swallow it and smile? Did you replay the whole moment at 2 a.m., thinking of every perfect thing you should have said? Most people do one of those three things, and none of them work. None of them restore your dignity. None of them protect your peace. They just keep the cycle spinning over and over every single time someone decides to test you. But there is one sentence, 7 words, that the ancient Stoics understood but never packaged in a self-help book. A sentence so precise and so psychologically devastating that the moment you say it, the person who disrespected you will freeze, stumble, and never come at you that way again. We are going to break down exactly what that sentence is, why it works on a deep psychological level, and how to deliver it without losing your composure, your dignity, or your power. Stay with me every second of this, because if you miss the foundation, the sentence will not land the way you need it to. Let's begin. You've been there. You know the moment I'm talking about because it doesn't announce itself. It doesn't give you time to prepare. 1 second the conversation is normal, and the next second something lands. A remark, a tone, a look, and suddenly your entire body is reacting before your brain even catches up. Your chest tightens, your face flushes, your heart rate climbs, and your mind floods with two choices, both of them screaming at you at the same time. Option 1, fight back, hit them harder, destroy their credibility right there in front of everyone. Show them you are not one to be played with. Option 2, stay quiet, swallow the insult, keep the peace. Smile, nod, and pretend it didn't carve a hole right through you. Here is what nobody tells you about both of those options. They are both traps. When you fight back in the heat of the moment, you are entering their storm. You are playing by their rules, on their terms, on a battlefield they chose. The moment you mirror their chaos, you become indistinguishable from them. You lose your high ground, and you lose it fast. When you go silent out of fear, out of conflict avoidance, out of pure exhaustion, you are not keeping the peace. You are teaching them the exact price of your dignity. You are telling them without a single word that your silence is their permission slip, permission to do it again, permission to go further next time. So you are stuck. Reacting destroys you, suppressing destroys you. 2 roads, same destination. But what if there was a third road? One that didn't require you to raise your voice, didn't require you to swallow your self-respect, and most importantly, one that permanently changed how that person would ever speak to you again. That road exists, and it was built by men who understood power in a way most of us never will. Before you can respond to disrespect with real power, you need to completely change how you understand it. When someone insults you, your ego steps forward immediately and says, "This is about me. They have evaluated me. They have weighed my worth. They have delivered their verdict on who I am." That is the illusion, and as long as you believe it, they have total power over you. Here is the truth the Stoics understood, and that modern psychology has since confirmed. When a person disrespects you, they are not making a statement about you. They are making a confession about themselves. Think about it carefully. Genuinely happy, grounded, fulfilled people do not walk into rooms and try to make other people feel small. That is not a behavior that comes from strength. It comes from invisible wounds, from insecurity, from a desperate need to feel superior because they secretly feel inadequate, from a jealousy they would never admit out loud, from a loss of control in their own life that they are trying to compensate for by briefly controlling yours. Epictetus, a man who was literally enslaved and still chose to master his own mind, said this: "We should not be disturbed by the actions of the ignorant. because they are simply acting according to their nature. When someone throws an insult at you, stop seeing them as your judge. Start seeing them the way a doctor sees a patient. Someone in pain acting out, trying to transfer that pain to the nearest available target, which today happened to be you. Does that mean you accept it? Absolutely not. But it changes everything about how you respond. Because once you understand that their disrespect is really a confession of their own weakness, the question becomes, what is the correct response to someone confessing their weakness to you? Not anger, not submission, something far more devastating. Before we get to the sentence, and we are getting there is one mistake that will destroy its effectiveness if you make it first. The moment someone disrespects you, the most common instinct, especially for kind, self-aware people, is the urge to explain yourself. Someone questions your competence, and you immediately start listing your qualifications. Someone misreads your intentions, and you launch into a long-winded defense of your character. Someone calls you sensitive, and you spend 10 minutes proving how secure you are, which, ironically, proves the exact opposite. You think you are standing up for yourself. You are not. Every time you frantically explain yourself to someone who just disrespected you, you are handing them the judge's gavel. You are telling them, loudly and clearly, that their opinion of you carries enormous authority over your emotional state. You are saying, what you just said has shaken me, and I need you to understand me so that I can feel safe again. Manipulative people live for this moment. They throw the hook and they wait to see how hard you bite. Your frantic explanation is the bite they were waiting for. Your defense is the proof that the attack landed exactly where they aimed. Marcus Aurelius wrote something that should be embedded in the mind of every person who has ever been disrespected. An emerald does not lose its value simply because it is not praised. You are the emerald. Their opinion is not the appraisal. It never was. Stop explaining yourself to people who have already decided what they think of you. It does not move them. It only moves you backwards. Now, you have detached from the personal attack. You have refused the urge to over-explain. The insult is hanging in the air. The room is waiting. The person who threw it is watching your face, looking for the reaction they came for. What do you actually say? Here it is. You look at them, not with anger, not with hurt. With the calm, steady, slightly curious gaze of someone who finds the whole situation genuinely interesting. The way a scientist looks at something strange under a microscope. You let 1 second pass, 2 seconds, and then in a perfectly level voice you say, "Are you hoping for a reaction from me?" 7 words, that is the entire sentence. Now let me explain exactly why it works. Because understanding the psychology is what will allow you to deliver it with the precision it requires. It steps completely outside the emotional frame of the conversation. Every other possible response, anger, sarcasm, explanation, cold silence, is still playing within the rules of the game they set. This sentence doesn't play the game. It holds the game up to the light and asks everyone in the room to look at it. It exposes the tactic without making an accusation. You are not saying you are trying to manipulate me. You are asking a question. A calm, neutral, almost clinical question that forces them to look at the mechanics of their own behavior in real time. In front of witnesses, and it demonstrates absolute emotional control. You didn't snap, you didn't flinch, you didn't scramble for a comeback, you just asked. That kind of composure communicates more power than any insult ever could. Now watch what happens. They will freeze, genuinely freeze. They might laugh nervously. They might say no, it was just a joke, you're too sensitive. They might immediately try to change the subject. It doesn't matter which one they do. Because every possible response confirms the same thing to everyone watching. You saw through them. Their strategy failed. And they know it, but the sentence is only the first half of the weapon. After you say those 7 words, You do the single hardest thing a human being can do in a moment of social tension. You stop talking. No follow-up. No, because what you said was really uncalled for. No softening the blow. No reaching back in to rescue the moment. You ask the question, and you let the silence grow around it like a room filling slowly with water. Most people are physically uncomfortable with silence, especially silence they caused. And when a manipulative or disrespectful person is met with your dead, unhurried stillness after that question, their anxiety spikes. They realize they have lost control of the script. And in their desperation to make the discomfort stop, they start talking. They over-explain. They backtrack. They accidentally reveal more about themselves in the next 30 seconds than they intended to show anyone in the room. Your job in those 30 seconds: watch. Say nothing. Just watch. This is what the Stoics meant when they said silence is not empty. It is full of answers. When you refuse to rescue someone from the discomfort of their own disrespectful behavior, you are communicating without a syllable that your peace is a fortress. That if they bring chaos to your gates, they will stand alone in it. The conversation will move on. The moment will pass. But something will have shifted permanently, and everyone in that room felt it. Now here is what comes next. Not in that moment. After. Most people make a second critical mistake. They think the moment is over. They go back to normal. They carry on as if nothing changed. And slowly, over days and weeks, the toxic person tests the boundary again, because there were no lasting consequences. The Stoics understood that self-respect is not a single event. It is a long-term policy. Once someone shows you who they are, once they demonstrate a clear willingness to speak to you without basic respect, you do not need to hold a grudge. A grudge is poison you drink yourself. You do not need to plot revenge. Revenge keeps you chained to the very person you want to be free of. What you do is this: you quietly reduce their access. Your warmth, your humor, your personal stories, your genuine presence, these are not free. They are not available to everyone who happens to share a building or a bloodline with you. They are premium. They must be earned. You don't announce this. You don't deliver a speech. You simply shift. You become cordial, correct, and completely unreadable. Brief answers. No volunteered information. No personal invitations. Polite, professional, and immovable. You give them nothing interesting to grab onto. And eventually, consciously or not, they realize that crossing you cost them something real and irreplaceable. You don't demand respect. You simply remove your energy from environments where it is not freely given. But all of this, the sentence, the silence, the withdrawal, it only holds permanently if the foundation underneath it is solid. And that brings us to the most important part of this entire conversation. Let me be honest with you. Why do insults hurt so much? Why do we lie awake replaying a throwaway comment from someone we don't even respect? Why does a single remark from the wrong person have the ability to unravel an entire day? Because somewhere beneath the surface, on a level most of us rarely admit to, we worry the insult might be true. When your sense of self-worth is built entirely on external foundations, on what others think of your work, your choices, your intelligence, your value, every piece of criticism feels like a structural attack. Because it is. If your house is built on their opinion, any gust of their contempt can shake the whole thing. This is the real work, and it cannot be outsourced. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled the largest empire on earth and was surrounded daily by people who either worshipped him or plotted against him, spent his private nights doing one thing. He wrote in his journal, alone, honestly, without audience, about the man he was when no one was watching, about whether his actions matched his values. That private journal is what we now call meditations. He was not writing for us. He was writing because he understood that the only foundation strong enough to make a person truly untouchable is not power, not status, not the praise of the crowd. It is the private knowledge of your own integrity. When you know exactly who you are, when you have kept your commitments to yourself in the dark, when you have acted with honesty and discipline when there was absolutely no audience, an insult doesn't penetrate. It lands on armor you built in private, because you begin to see what the disrespecting person cannot. They are not speaking to you, they are speaking to a projection, a version of you that lives only in their unresolved pain. They cannot touch the real you because they cannot even find it. There is one more thing before we close, and it may be the most important thing I've said today. When you stop reacting, when you stop explaining, when you hold your silence, reduce your access and build your inner foundation, not everyone is going to respect that. In fact, some people are going to hate it. The same people who were used to provoking you, destabilizing you, feeding off your reactions, they are going to call you arrogant. They will tell others you've changed, that you think you're better than everyone, that you've become cold, distant, impossible to reach. They will rewrite the story of the relationship to cast themselves as the innocent victims and you as the unreasonable villain. Let them. You cannot control the stories people tell about you behind closed doors. Spending your finite, irreplaceable energy trying to manage your reputation among people who have already decided to misread you, that is not strength. That is just a slower way of handing your power away. You are not here to win everyone's approval. You are here to master your own mind, guard your own peace, and execute your own purpose. True power has always been quiet. It does not argue. It does not plead. It does not stoop. It does not perform for rooms that were never really watching. It simply refuses to be moved. The next time someone tries to make you feel small, do not panic. Do not rush. Let the pause breathe. Look at them with clear, calm eyes. Remember that their storm is not your responsibility and never was. And then, quietly, steadily, without apology, ask the question. Are you hoping for a reaction from me? Then stand in the silence. And let them remember, for a very long time, what it felt like to try you. If you stayed with this video until the very end, you are already operating differently from most people around you. Most people want the shortcut. You wanted the understanding. That difference is the one that compounds over time. If this gave you clarity today, share it with one person who is currently giving their peace away to someone who hasn't earned it. They need this more than you know. Like this video and subscribe if you want to keep building this kind of quiet, unshakable power. And drop your declaration in the comments right now. Type this: I'm the sole commander of my reactions. Stay grounded. Guard your inner citadel. I'll see you in the next one.